Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I'm seriously thrilled you're here today because we are going to unpack and really optimize one of the absolute most powerful tools in your Python toolkit, dictionaries. Whether you're already wrangling complex data sets or, maybe you just want a crystal clear refresher on managing high-level data architectures in your scripts, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down this whole key-value architecture and see how it's implemented in the real world, step by step. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to start by thinking about something you probably use, dozens of times a day? The Contact app on your smartphone. When you want to call a friend, you don't scroll through some massive, random list of 10-digit numbers just hoping to guess the right one, right? No way. You search for their name, and boom, instantly their specific phone number pops up. But how exactly does that everyday app link a person's name directly to their phone number under the hood? Like, how does the software instantly know that Alice corresponds to one specific string of numbers and Bob points to another?
That brings us to Section 1, the key-value concept.
So at its core, a dictionary in Python is a data structure that stores structured data specifically as key-value pairs. Think of it, quite literally, like a physical dictionary book. You have a word you want to look up, that's your key, and the definition of that word, well, that's your value. Going back to our contact list example, your friend's name is the unique key and their phone number is the value securely attached to it. It is literally the absolute perfect programmatic solution for taking a messy, chaotic set of data and organizing it into a super fast, instantly retrievable format. Actually, under the hood, Python uses something called a hash map for this, which means retrieval time is near instantaneous. It doesn't even matter how massive the dictionary gets.
Now, if you're ever sitting in a technical interview and they ask you about the fundamental difference between a dictionary and a list, which they absolutely will, just remember this. A list stores data sequentially using numerical indexes. Item 0, item 1, item 2. And that's great if order matters, but honestly, it's terrible if you want to find something specific quickly. A dictionary, on the other hand, tosses out those sequential numbers entirely. Instead, it uses your specific custom keys to retrieve data. You don't ask the dictionary for item number 4, you ask it for Alice's phone number, and it immediately hands you the exact value, a total game changer.
Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering CRUD Operations.
Now, CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. And these 4 steps basically represent exactly how a piece of data lives and breathes within a Python script. First up, we create our dictionary. We can do this in a few different syntax styles, but mostly you'll see people doing it by wrapping their key-value pairs in curly braces. Second, we read that data by passing the key into our code to fetch its corresponding value. Third, because data changes over time, right, we update our dictionary. This means we can either insert brand new key-value pairs or just overwrite an existing value, like if a friend gets a new phone number. And finally, step 4, we delete unneeded data to keep our systems nice, clean, and efficient.
To actually perform those CRUD operations effectively, Python gives us some awesome built-in tools. I kind of like to treat these essential dictionary methods like a high-powered developer's toolkit. Need a list of every single name in your contact book? The keys method grabs all the keys. Just need the phone numbers? The values method pulls those. The items method grabs both of them together as pairs. Then there's the get method. This is a super safe way to retrieve a value without causing your entire program to crash if the key happens to not exist. Plus, the update method lets you merge in multiple new contacts all at once, and pop lets you target a specific key and completely remove it, the whole shebang, from the dictionary. Seriously, mastering these few methods gives you absolute control over your data.
Let's jump over to Section 3, Looping and Traversal.
Look, if you have 10 contacts, checking them manually is fine. But if you have 10,000, you need automation. This is what we call dictionary traversal. By using loops in Python, specifically looping through those keys and values we were just talking about, we can process an entire database in literally just 2 or 3 lines of code. It's amazing. You can write a loop that goes through every single contact in your dictionary and, say, prints out a custom formatted message for each one. It scales effortlessly. It works exactly the same whether your dictionary has 5 items or 5 million items.
Okay, up next is Section 4, Nested Dictionary Architecture. Let's slow down just a bit for this one.
And this brilliantly illustrates the concept of nesting. See, you aren't limited to just storing simple text or numbers as a value. You can actually store entire dictionaries inside of other dictionaries. It's like a giant puzzle. Think of a student information management system. Our main key is a unique student ID, but the value attached to that ID, it isn't just a single word. It's a completely separate nested dictionary containing that student's name, their grade, and their phone number. This architecture allows us to build incredibly detailed hierarchical data structures that perfectly mirror really complex real-life relationships.
Which naturally leads us to Section 5, Real-World Applications.
Because the nested structures we just looked at, they aren't just academic exercises. They literally run the digital world. Think about massive student databases at major universities, just effortlessly organizing thousands of academic profiles. Or think about the product catalogs on your favorite e-commerce sites. Each product ID is a key, and the value is a nested dictionary holding the price, the description, the stock count, image links, everything. Or even consider complex user profiles on social media platforms, where your unique username maps to a dictionary of your bio, your followers, and your custom settings. All of these built on the exact same key-value principles we're discussing right now.
All right, finally, Section 6, Common Mistakes in Interviews.
Let's compare best practices directly against the most common mistakes developers make. Trust me, you'll want to avoid these. First up, duplicate keys. In a Python dictionary, every single key must be unique. If you try to assign two different phone numbers to the exact same key name, Python won't keep both. It's just going to overwrite the first one with the second one, completely destroying your original data. So you absolutely have to ensure your keys are distinct. The second major pitfall is blindly trying to access non-existing keys. If you ask the dictionary for a key that isn't there using standard bracket notation, your program will throw an error and crash hard. And actually, this is exactly why, like we mentioned earlier, utilizing that get method is so heavily recommended by the pros. It safely handles those missing keys without breaking your application.
So, the crucial point is this. Whenever you're faced with a dataset where pieces of information are logically linked together, like a word and its definition, an ID and a user profile, or a name and a phone number, dictionaries are simply the ideal and most computationally efficient choice for storing that structured key-value data. They offer speed, flexibility, and just incredibly intuitive data management.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the basic definitions all the way to CRUD operations, traversal, and those powerful nested architectures. Now, I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge to really cement this knowledge. How will you build your very first contact management system using Python dictionaries? Seriously, think about it. What keys will you need? What nested data might you want to store? And which methods will you use to update it? Take what you've learned here, open up your code editor, and bring it to life. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy coding!